City Commission meeting to order March 14th, 2019 at 6:39 p.m. The invocation, the person that was supposed to do that couldn't make it, so we're going to have a minute of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll all stand.
Madam Mayor, if you would, folks, during your moment of silence, if you do something for Lee Davis's family and the tragedy that his family endured with his great grandson, keep them in your thoughts during this, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jenny, roll call, please.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Vice Mayor Williams is absent. Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner Jameson.
Here.
Commissioner Latham.
Here.
Thank you, Jenny. Approval of the agenda.
I make such a motion that the agenda be approved as printed.
You wanted to...
Oh,
Madam
yes,
Chairman?
ma'am. Would like to amend the, with number 4, and would like to take that
Okay.
off, please.
Take out
All right.
number 4.
Yes.
All right, in that case, then, I make a motion that the agenda be approved as modified by deleting item number 4.
I'll make a second on that.
It has been seconded, moved and seconded that we approve the agenda for tonight. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. First item under unfinished business is consider ordinance 2019-03.
Madam Mayor, this is an ordinance of the City of High Springs amending the fiscal year budget for 2018-2019 for the City of High Springs CRA, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, and providing for codification. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2019-03 upon its reading by title only.
I will open the meeting to public hearing for the public input. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this? I will close the public hearing. Do we have any discussion?
Nothing's changed.
No, nothing's changed.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2019-03.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the ordinance 2019-03.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
Commissioner Latham.
Yes.
Okay, we'll now open for citizen requests and comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record and limit comments to 5 minutes.
David Lynch, L-I-N-C-H. I would just like to remind the commissioners that they are supporting and condoning, by the power of the state, something that kills over 1,000 people each week.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. Anyone else? The next item is under new business. Number 1 is, excuse me, consider ordinance 2019-01.
Madam Mayor, I'll go ahead and read this by title only, and we'll put a motion in a second. We'll place the matter on the floor. This will be a quasi-judicial matter, meaning that anyone that wishes to discuss after I read it and we put the matter on the floor, anyone that wishes to speak to the ordinance will need to be sworn in, and I'll either do that or our clerk can swear the people in. There'll be a presentation as to the reasons for the future land use map change and the zoning change for the ordinance. And then we'll also talk about whether there's been any ex parte communication. When we say ex parte communication, that means outside of this meeting, if any of your constituents have come up to you and said they're for or against it, or given you information related to this outside of this public hearing, then you're supposed to put that matter on the record here this evening. So with that, I'll go ahead and read this ordinance. This is ordinance number 2019-01, an ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, amending the future land use plan map of the City of High Springs Comprehensive Plan as amended, relating to an amendment of 10 or less acres of land pursuant to an application CPA 19-01 by the property owners of said acreage under the amendment procedures established in sections 163.3161 through 163.3248 of the Florida statutes as amended, providing for a change in the land use classification from county rural agriculture less than or equal to 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres to city residential suburban 1 to 4 dwelling units per gross acre on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of High Springs, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2019-01 upon its reading by title only.
Do we need to?
We need a motion along those lines.
Oh, okay.
In a second, that'll place the matter on the floor for discussion.
We need a motion.
Oh, okay. I will make a motion that ordinance number 2019-01 be approved as printed.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2019-01 on first reading.
Madam Mayor, if anyone in the audience desires to speak to this particular future land use plan map change, if they would stand and raise your right hand. Seeing none, Madam Mayor, there is an application associated with this future plan change, and it's in accordance with the procedures that we normally have as far as zoning and comprehensive plan map changes. And we are seeking 1.82 acres to be changed from agriculture to residential suburban. It's a small piece of land that's being changed. It is owned by, and the application is by Edith R. Wilkerson and James K. Wilkerson. We believe that the change is in keeping with the surrounding areas and in keeping with the existing comprehensive plan and affected elements of the City of High Springs.
Is there any discussion?
Well, we've got this on the table here before us, and this is taking it from county rural agricultural, which is less than or equal to 1 dwelling per 5 acres, to 1 to 4 dwellings per unit per gross acre. So is this a county property now, or is it in the City of High Springs?
My understanding is this is part of the voluntary annexations that we've had.
Okay.
And so the problem is if somebody wants to build on this property, until we take zoning jurisdiction over the property, we are actually required to apply the county regulations to this land, which is very untenable. Our building department and our inspection department, all of that, it's very hard for them to manage the county. We need to manage the High Springs regulations. So that's basically
It's
the
already
procedure.
been annexed in. It's
That's
already
correct.
previously
That
been
is my
annexed, so we're
understanding,
just doing
yes.
the cleanup by changing the zoning to match with what our zoning.
This is a very typical thing that we do.
Okay.
Just real quick, Bill, we're good on this? You've reviewed this, I'm assuming, right? You've had some input?
Yeah, it's a simple.
Raise your right hand, sir. Please state your name.
William Whitelaw.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, sir? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Attorneys, don't you
Sorry
love
about
them?
that,
Okay. You know? This is Wilkinson's property. It's out off of 190, and it was voluntary annexation into the city. And when we do that, in order for them to do anything with the property, we do need to rezone it in our zoning regulations, and that's what's before you now. It's a small piece of property, and actually it's my understanding that they're going to put a family home on it, and it's not going to be a development. But as we do with all of them, we looked into infrastructure and make sure our infrastructure support this annexation and the zoning change that it does. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, we did.
There's a motion on the floor, that's
Okay.
Yes,
correct.
and now we,
Had a second, that's
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Davidson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lavin,
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
yes.
Madam Mayor, the next item is a companion matter. So we just changed the future land use map, and now we're going in and actually changing the zoning. So that's what this ordinance does. And I'll go ahead and read this one by title only. The same rules govern. If anybody wants to speak to this, they'll have to be sworn in. It's quasi judicial. And if anybody has an ex parte discussion, they need to put that on the record. This will be ordinance number 2019-02, an ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, amending the official zoning map of the City of High Springs Land Development Code as amended, relating to the rezoning of less than 10 contiguous acres of land pursuant to an application Z-1901 by the property owners of said acreage, providing for rezoning from county agriculture AG to city residential suburban R-1A residential of certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of High Springs, Florida, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance number 2019-02 as read by its title only.
I hear a motion for discussion.
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2019-02.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2019-02.
And I should formally ask if anybody's had any ex parte discussions.
on that.
For the record, everybody's
No,
shaking their
no,
head.
No.
Thank you. And with
So,
that, we won't have staff presentation unless you would like to hear from Bill again.
Is anyone in the audience?
And I won't have to swear him in again
Right.
this time.
Then I guess, Jenny, we're,
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Lavin,
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
yes. The next item, boy, you're getting your,
That's right. This is a little longer,
it
too.
is longer.
And this you'll probably see in front of you somewhere down the road, because this is an annexation. So you'll see another example of changing the future land use map and the zoning one day down the road.
Okay.
This is ordinance 2019-04, an ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, pursuant to the petition number ANX 1901, relating to voluntary annexation, making findings, annexing to and including within the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, certain real property located in Alachua County, Florida, which is reasonably compact and contiguous to the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, redefining the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, providing for land use classification of that real property to be annexed, providing that effective January 1st, 2020, the real property to be annexed shall be assessed for payment of municipal ad valorem taxes and be subject to all general and special assessments providing that existing licensed businesses, trades, or professions operating within the real property to be annexed may continue such businesses, trades, or professions throughout the entire boundaries of the city of High Springs, Florida. Directing the city clerk within 7 days of the effective date of this ordinance to file certified copies of this ordinance with the Florida Department of State, the Florida Office of Economic and Demographic Research, the clerk of the Circuit Court of Alachua County, Florida, the Chief Administrative Officer of Alachua County, Florida, the Property Appraiser of Alachua County, Florida, the Tax Collector of Alachua County, Florida, and all public utilities authorized to conduct business within the city of High Springs, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2019-04 upon its reading by title only.
Do we need to make?
Yeah. We have questions. I have questions too. Do we need to talk, can we talk about it before we make a motion, or do we
You
need
can.
to-
If that's your pleasure to do that, then you certainly can do that. This is actually a quasi-judicial procedure as well. Our witness has already been sworn, so he doesn't need to be sworn again. But if anybody else desires to come up before you, they will need to be sworn. And again, same question, any extra judicial not quasi-judicial,
Ex parte.
any discussions that you've had outside of the hearing this evening?
No.
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 For the record, all have announced no.
Nancy?
So I would take a presumptuous guess that this is probably going to be developed at some point in the future. If this is county, is this zoned agricultural?
It's currently zoned agricultural. Again, when we look at these, we look at what infrastructure is available and services that the city needs to provide. In this circumstances, we do not have city services down there. It's all the way to the Peggy Road.
Right, I was going to ask you what road it was on.
Right. And having said that, he would be restricted to only build on the minimum lot size he could build on would be 5 acres.
Okay.
And that would allow him to do well and septic.
Okay.
We're talking to the applicant. He's really looking at 10-acre parcels in there.
Okay.
But we're not talking a development down there for quite a while.
Okay.
So unless something changes, we will stay with an agricultural zoning designation on it.
Madam Mayor, the annex, part of this annexing, it's 100, total lands are 424.19 acres, more or less. And the applicant for the, so it looks like there's two sections. One's 226 acres, 0.07 acres, and then the second one's 39.47 acres, and then there's well, that's actually an exception, less an exception, and then there's an additional 237.59 acres. So total of all lands described in the ordinance is 424.19 acres. It's the annexing party is Hawley LLC. Hawley Farms LLC is the owner of the real property. The Hawleys are known for developing very nice homes. That's the type of and style of development they typically do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, we're not looking at a development that's going to start in the next probably 2 years, to be honest with you. But when Phil Hawley develops something, it is first class. He's a real high-end developer. But again, he's going to be restricted on what he can put in there based on what city services are available. And so in reality, there is no impact to our water and sewer systems at this time. If we opt to one day run it down there, well, then that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, I was concerned about water and sewer. That was my concern. And so.
Well, and you'll probably see come before you a few more as time goes on. And when we get out in the rural communities, when we annex parcels in, we do look at see what services we can provide to them. And we have certain stipulations if they're within a certain distance of our our city utilities, they have to hook in. But these are parcels that are pretty far out, so that doesn't even go into that circle. But most of what we're going to see out in that area and out in there are going to be 10-acre lots. And if you guys have ever been out there, if you haven't, drive out there. It's a gorgeous piece of property. It's the old Bishop Farm, I think. So, and I think that's what we're going to see out in that area. So, that'll be good for the city. Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? And do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2019-4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2019-4.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Review, no, the next item is consider awarding bids for tree removal.
Madam Mayor, this is an annual thing that we go out and identify trees on right-of-ways to take down. The lowest bid was
$648.
$11,628. What we're asking for is to allow us and accept the bid for no more than $10,000. That's what we had budgeted, and we're keeping everything budget neutral.
So how are you going to do that? You're going to take a tree off the
We'll
list?
take a tree out.
Okay, and so how do you?
Actually, there's a tree that probably belongs to CRA, and it's over by the old schoolhouse, and we'll take that one out.
And the contractor has been told or asked if he could meet the $10,000?
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
He's also mentioned that there might be one that doesn't come stuff right.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is the one that was the lowest bid?
It was the lowest.
Okay. Okay.
There's $10,000 budget for this. So, yeah, I mean, something like this, we're probably gonna have to do these separately, correct? Because one's wild spaces, the next one's wild spaces.
Right, they're two separate bids.
So, I mean, I'll make a motion to approve the bid within the budgeted amount of $10,000 with that stipulation.
That'd be
Good. Then I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the bid for $10,000 to remove the trees as stated in the invitation to bid. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes 4-0. The next one is the review of January 2019 financial statements.
No,
No,
we
we
have
have
one
another
more.
tree bid.
And that is the Park and Recreation.
Oh, I
for
beg your
trees.
pardon. You're right.
And we're there to cut, actually, I will have Robert come up and talk about his trees.
You have trees.
Yeah, I have trees, some dead trees. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. So this is something that I wanted to do since like 2015 at the sports complex. There's a wooded area. A lot of cars been parking under that for a while, and what we did is we fenced that off to kind of separate the park from the parking lot. But in the event that we do have big events, we would like to park under there. So what we did was we looked into putting some Wild Spaces money into taking down the dead trees as well as taking care of the trees that are alive. So the bid represents all the dead trees will be removed and grinded to grade, and all the trees that are still existing will be brought to a canopy of I think 15 feet so that they can maintain their health. And then that will open up parking for big events as well as plans for future expansion if we decide to do so.
And this is that section between the soccer fields over to the school? Is that where it is, that treat area?
Yep.
Okay. We're not going to pave it or anything, we're just clearing it for grass parking?
Yep.
Okay. A lot of trees.
Yep.
A lot of trees.
They've been neglected for a while.
What's the company again, Robert?
The lowest was Brooks
Tree
at
Grove.
23,000.
23,000.
Yeah, I'm okay with going with the lowest bid. I know of the company. I've actually spoke with the gentleman. He seems great, and he's willing to work with us, so I'm all for it.
Any other
I'll ma-
questions, discussion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the lowest bid for this tree bids for the sports complex park.
It has been, nope,
Second.
okay. That's too fast, wasn't it? It has been moved and seconded that we award the bid to, I'm sorry, who was that?
Brooks, the lowest bidder, Brooks.
For Parks and Recreation hazardous trees at the sports complex. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, review of January 2019 financial statements.
You bet. Madam Mayor, it looks okay. We are still making sure everything is budget neutral. And we clamp down. What we don't want to do is come in July or August and then have no money.
Amen.
That'd be preferred.
That would be
Absolutely.
right. And,
That's a good approach.
yeah, I know. Y'all still gonna say names. I would like it not to be this problem.
Does anybody have any questions?
So it looks like across the board workers' comp is elevated, or is it something where you're prepaying it? How,
Yeah, so, family work up together, it's, we're in January.
okay, so it's a prepay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. And then on Public Works Facilities, do you have the report in front of you there, Jennifer? There's an item under operating expenditures called contractual services, and there's a period amount of $1,094.33, but it's not brought over to, well, I don't understand that. What is it?
So you're under the operating expenses?
Yep, third item.
Okay, so this is contractual services, there was nothing budgeted,
Okay,
and so that will have to be something that's adjusted when we do the budget amendment.
okay, and what was that for? Do you know?
Off the top of my head,
That's okay. I'll
that
follow
might
up.
be, I'm sorry, I will email that to you.
Okay. And then there's a contractual services under the sewer fund monthly report that was grossly high as well. General ledger sewer fund monthly report, page 2. Under operating expenditures, contractual services, our year-to-date is significantly over what was budgeted.
13,600.
Mm-hmm.
I will check on that one as well and let you know.
I think that was it. Yep, I think so. Thank you.
Anyone else?
No, I'm just gonna state the same thing before, I'm just out of the deal is, I think we need to make sure that when we arbitrarily, and I don't like, just do the 1,094. Should be an emergency type of thing. I
I'm
guess-
sure it was a repair.
All I'm saying is I wanna make sure that, that's why the budget process is so crucial, is that we do it, and we wanna be careful that we're not putting in
Right.
things that, you know what I'm saying, that should have been put in the budget, just from a budgetary and an audit standpoint when they see the money. That's all, I'm just,
Well, a good example would be the air conditioner in here. We didn't budget it, we spent $2,900 fixing it.
Yep.
You know, it would be easy to say, well, we just be hot for a few.
well, I would consider that an emergency because it
Thank
went
you.
out. That's all I'm trying to get across. I'm not,
Right.
I'm just saying, an emergency, I got it. Something that's, should have been planned for. That's all.
Right, I understand. And
That's
we're
all I'm
not
getting.
letting them spend any money unless it was an emergency.
And I'm kind of thinking that the Public Works, now that I'm thinking about it, I told them that it's something that we've done in the past, charged to operating, but it's not an operating expense. It's really a contractual service. I'm trying to get them to, they should be charging stuff not where the money is. They should be charging it in the category that it really belongs. Then you move the money. I'm 99% sure that's what the Public Works facilities is. Terry called me on that, but I will send that out to you. So then the money will be moved from operating to that.
I got it.
So it's a
Just-
bookkeeping thing.
That's just,
Yes.
the contingency stuff is there for, once again, is there for emergencies. The air conditioning unit goes out, you don't plan on it, you got it. We need to really be looking forward, when we do our yearly budget. We need to the best of our ability, plan out in front and build it in, so we're not having to change the chess pieces to find money. That's all I'm saying. So, we're doing that on the deal, I'm just saying.
And
that
this
Tim-
one, this stuff will come from contingency. They have to find it in their budget.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Says full thing. Says what? Full thing. Yeah. We'll look that up, but thank you.
That'll be internal funds shifting, transfer of funds,
Yes,
internal funds.
and I'm gonna be honest with you. That happens every year.
Okay.
Because somebody doesn't spend what they have, but they need something else. So
Right.
they always come to Mr. Booth and I and say, I want to move here.
Okay.
That's okay. We just are supposed to look at stuff if it
No,
hasn't been budgeted. That's our job.
No, I'm totally fine. I just want to kind of give you
No,
some
we're good.
internal.
We're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Next item is consider approval of contract with WCA for solid waste services.
Madam Mayor, the item that's before you is a contract between WCA and the City of High Springs. The term of the proposed agreement is May 1st, 2019. This would terminate this under the terms of the contract on April 30th, 2024. The agreement may be extended at the end of each term for an additional 5 years based upon successful negotiations between the city and the contractor. And so the negotiations shall be concluded 180 days, start 9 months before expiration of initial term, and then conclude 180 days before the end of the contract. There is a requirement that the contractor provide for refuse disposal, including 2 18-gallon recycling bins and 1 96-gallon cart for residential refuse. The contract delineates the points of picked up and the commercial collection service methods, industrial collection methods, scheduling of routes. It provides certain holidays where their refuse will not be picked up. Payment and billing. Contractor shall bill the city for services the previous month, and the city will pay the contractor within 15 days the receipt of such invoice. The city will be responsible for billing all residential and commercial customers. The rates we'll get to in just a moment, but they're put forth on Exhibit A. If there are failures pursuant to the performance in the contract, and this is one of the things your city staff was staunch about adding to the contract, which is that liquidated damages be assessed as an administrative charge if there's failures to perform in the contract. And then there's a set forth schedule under the contract, which I won't go into each instance, but as an example, failure to service a complaint on or before the next regularly scheduled pickup is $40 for each case. So if somebody calls in and says, I didn't get picked up, nobody goes out from WCA to pick up the service, and then you have another service event, then by the next week, then they get assessed their $40. So we would deduct that from the payment that we make to WCA. The other terms of the contract are very straightforward. They have to provide their insurance, worker comp insurance, comprehensive general liability, minimum limits of $1 million per occurrence, and combined limits as well. Automobile, $1 million. Excess umbrella is $5 million. They have to provide a performance bond, and there's the standard public records language that we add into all of these types of contracts. Governing law is state of Florida. Venue is Alachua County, Florida. The appropriate signatures are for yourself, Mayor Jones, and Jenny Parham, our city clerk. The exhibit that we talked about earlier, residential schedule, once a week collection trash, yard waste and recyclables, and twice a month bulk collection. Residential rate is $14 per residential unit. Commercial pricing matrix is listed on the schedule, and it depends on if you want a 2 cubic yards, 4 cubic yards, 6 cubic yards, 8 cubic yards, and how often you want the trash picked up, but that's placed in the schedule. And that is a summary of the contract. The appropriate motion is to authorize the appropriate city officials to enter into the contract between WCA and the City of High Springs. Welcome.
Any discussion?
Mr. Walker, I looked through here on the deals, and I didn't see it, and I thought I scanned it. So on the deal, if there is something here that says that the rate doesn't increase,
That's right.
70% of CPI.
70% is CPI, but I'm talking the rate itself, not the CPI. There's like a 2-year where the rate cannot go up.
Two and a
That's
half
right.
years, no CPI.
Yeah.
2.5 years?
Two and a half years, October of 2021.
Okay, I'm just saying, and that's written in,
Right.
that's written
It
into it?
is.
It is.
Okay,
Yeah, it
I
is.
was just scanning it.
Oh, yes. Of the agreement? It's a matter of public record. I'm sure Ms. Parham would be glad to do that. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the City of High Springs Solid Waste Franchise Agreement between the city and WCA.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the contract with WCA for solid waste services. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Mr. City Attorney.
Madam Mayor, just to answer the question specifically that was asked by Commissioner Jameson, it's 10.2A is the provision, and no rate adjustments shall be requested for the period of May 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2021. So that's the clause that you're
No
looking
rate increase.
No rate increase, that's right.
That encompasses everything.
That's right. That's right. And I did not have anything else to add.
City Manager.
Yes, ma'am. Here a few months ago, or maybe it was only 6 weeks ago, we came to the council and wanted to put in a part-time coordinator. And we went out for advertisements. We were not able to do it, so we were able to be budget neutral. And so we have come to that point where we can become budget neutral by, one, taking 10 hours from Wild Spaces, and they will allow us to hire a person for 10 hours. Robert has been able to make more money than the revenue that we had budgeted. And he has cut down a few dollars in expenses, and all that results in we can hire a part-time coordinator. And it really is somebody needed, because all our parks are being used all the time.
So you're looking for somebody 20 hours a week. Isn't that what the job was
20
posted?
or 29 hours.
29 hours, and we can pay 10 hours of that out of wild space?
We can pay half of, we can pay whatever it is, half.
Okay, okay.
No. We've already selected? Right, well, all right, and you already know that individual. That's Damon.
Yes.
Damon was here at one time
Yes.
and willing to come back part-time. And the other thing is,
Hold on a second. I mean, once again, so the money is gonna be based on the fact that we're gonna have to raise the money.
no, he already did. His revenues far exceeded what we budgeted.
So this isn't something we come back, we're gonna have, you're telling us right now that between the wild space deal, we're gonna pay the $15, the other $15, the money has already been generated, we're good to go. Come back, we're not transferring any other money type of deal.
Correct.
Okay,
Good to go.
His fees are up. His fees are,
Yeah.
So, I think Robert has a succession plan,
Mhm.
and everybody knows Robert's leaving.
Right.
So he's setting up a succession.
Right.
good, I'm just saying,
He better
we're
find
funding
John
a
in the
non,
next 3 months.
Right.
Okay.
that
All right.
that person doesn't get benefits. Do they get benefits at 29 hours a week?
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And I have to put kudos to our new attorney, Andrea. We were at a mitigation, and rather than just sit there, she was able to go in, I can't get too deep, because but she was really more than helpful at that mitigation.
Very good.
Very good.
Kudos.
All right.
She's sharp. I'll tell you, she's got a great work ethic and she's real sharp. We
Yes.
couldn't be happier.
Good.
I know. Oh, yes. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, there is a gravesite, funeral at our cemetery. For
Oh, the green.
But again.
Jean's
yes.
great-grandson.
Thank you.
I don't have anything. Lori?
No? Oh, yes, I do.
no, you're right.
Too bad.
I don't know what I did with it. Here it is. When I was coming in this afternoon, the young lady asked me, gave me the flyer, and she says this is the 13th annual Douglas Community Easter Egg Hunt. And it's going to be on Saturday, April the 20th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Catherine Taylor Park. There will be games, face painting, free food, prizes, kids' activities, and more. And she has a name and phone number on here. Says please contact her for whatever reason you might have. But on Saturday, April the 20th, from 1 to 4, the annual Easter egg hunt at Catherine Taylor Park. Okay.
I have nothing either, so if there's nothing else,
I make a motion to adjourn.
so done.
Take care.